A giant is born. Construction of the Titanic. The Titanic was a marvel of engineering. Built in Belfast, Ireland by Harland and Wolff, she was the largest ship of her time. Her construction began in 1909 and took 3 years to complete. Thousands of workers toiled day and night, crafting a vessel that was meant to be unsinkable. The ship was designed with a double-bottom hull and 16 watertight compartments. This feature was believed to make her impervious to the dangers of the sea. The Titanic was not just big, she was opulent. The first-class accommodations rivaled the finest hotels. Passengers enjoyed luxurious suites, a swimming pool and a gymnasium. There were grand dining saloons, smoking rooms, and even a squash court. The ship was a floating palace, a symbol of Edwardian-era extravagance. The Titanic was a symbol of progress and human ingenuity. Little did anyone know that this journey would end in tragedy. Setting sail, the maiden voyage begins. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic departed Southampton, England, on her maiden voyage to New York City. Excitement filled the air as passengers boarded, eager to experience the grandeur of the ship of dreams. A diverse group of people from all walks of life were on board. First-class passengers included some of the wealthiest individuals in the world. Second-class passengers were more modest, but still enjoyed comfortable accommodations. Third-class passengers, mostly immigrants, were seeking a better future. The journey began smoothly. The weather was fair and the sea was calm. Passengers settled into their routines, enjoying the ship's luxurious offerings. As the Titanic sailed westward, there were whispers of iceberg warnings. However, the crew remained confident in the ship's unsinkability. The stage was set for a tragedy that would shock the world. An ill-fated night. Collision with destiny. On the night of April 14, 1912, the temperature dropped significantly. Despite receiving multiple iceberg warnings, the Titanic continued at near top speed. The lookout spotted an iceberg directly ahead, but it was too late. At 11:40 p.m., the Titanic struck an iceberg on her starboard side. The impact felt like a shudder, not a violent crash. Many passengers were unaware of the collision, dismissing it as a minor bump. However, below deck, the damage was severe. Water began pouring into the ship's forward compartments. Captain Edward Smith quickly realized the gravity of the situation. He ordered the crew to prepare the lifeboats and send out distress signals. The Carpathia, over 50 miles away, received the distress call and immediately changed course to assist. As the ship began to list, panic started to spread among the passengers. Many lifeboats were lowered only partially full. Chaos in the Atlantic. The sinking of the Titanic. The sinking of the Titanic was a slow and agonizing process. As the ship gradually filled with water, the bow began to dip further into the ocean. The stern rose higher, exposing the propellers. Passengers and crew clung to railings and anything they could find. The band continued to play, attempting to calm the passengers. The lights flickered and then went out, plunging the ship into darkness. The final moments were chaotic and heartbreaking. The ship broke apart, plunging into the icy depths of the Atlantic. Over 1,500 people were thrown into the freezing water. The Carpathia arrived on the scene around 2:20 a.m., nearly 3 hours after the Titanic sank. The world mourned the loss of the Titanic and the many lives lost. Acts of heroism and despair. Stories from the lifeboats. Amidst the chaos and despair, stories of heroism and selflessness emerged. Ida Strauss, wife of Macy's co-owner Isidore Strauss, refused to leave her husband's side. They both perished together. Benjamin Guggenheim, a wealthy businessman, helped women and children into lifeboats, famously declaring, "We've dressed up in our best and are prepared to go down like gentlemen." The crew, particularly the wireless operators, displayed incredible courage. Jack Phillips and Harold Bride remained at their posts, sending out distress signals until the very end. The stokers worked tirelessly in the engine rooms, trying to keep the ship afloat. However, there were also stories of despair and desperation. Some passengers panicked, pushing and shoving to get onto lifeboats. Others clung to floating debris, hoping for rescue. The limited number of lifeboats meant that many passengers were left behind. The loss of so many lives sparked outrage and demands for change. In the aftermath, rescue and recovery. The Carpathia arrived at the scene of the sinking to a horrific sight. Lifeboats bobbed in the vast expanse of the ocean, filled with survivors huddled together against the cold. The rescue operation began immediately. Survivors were brought aboard the Carpathia, wrapped in blankets and given warm drinks. The crew of the Carpathia worked tirelessly to comfort and care for the traumatized survivors. As news of the disaster reached shore, the world was stunned. Newspapers printed headlines of disbelief and grief. Families anxiously awaited news of their loved ones. The Carpathia arrived in New York City on April 18, 1912, carrying over 700 survivors. The city was in mourning. The survivors were greeted with a mix of relief and sorrow. Recovery efforts began almost immediately. Regulatory changes, a legacy of safety. The sinking of the Titanic led to significant changes in maritime safety regulations. The International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, or SOLAS, was established in 1914. This convention set new standards for lifeboat capacity, radio communication, and iceberg patrols. The goal was to prevent a similar tragedy from ever happening again. The new regulations required ships to carry enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew. The Titanic had enough lifeboats to meet the existing regulations, but not enough for everyone on board. The new regulations addressed this critical flaw. The SOLAS Convention also mandated 24-hour radio operation on passenger ships. The establishment of the International Ice Patrol was another important outcome of the Titanic disaster. The patrol monitors iceberg activity in the North Atlantic and warns ships of potential dangers. This helps to prevent collisions and ensure the safety of maritime traffic. The patrol has been instrumental in preventing further tragedies. Remembering the Titanic, a timeless tragedy. The Titanic disaster continues to captivate our imaginations over a century later. The story of the unsinkable ship that sank on her maiden voyage is a timeless tale of human ambition, tragedy, and resilience. The Titanic has become a symbol of the fragility of life and the unpredictable nature of the sea. The stories of the passengers and crew, both the famous and the unknown, continue to resonate. Their experiences offer a glimpse into a bygone era and the human drama that unfolded on that fateful night. The acts of heroism, selflessness, and despair remind us of the complexities of human nature in the face of adversity. The Titanic story serves as a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. The wreck of the Titanic, discovered in 1985, has become a protected site. It serves as a poignant reminder of the tragedy and a memorial to those who lost their lives. The artifacts recovered from the wreck offer a tangible connection to the past and a deeper understanding of the ship and its passengers. The lessons learned from the Titanic disaster continue to shape maritime safety practices today. The legacy of the Titanic is one of increased safety and a renewed focus on the importance of human life at sea.